Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan Zients, Webinar Manager here at Jotform, and I'd like to welcome you to 3 things you need to know about Jotform's SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. SOC 2 is an internationally recognized set of security compliance standards for SaaS companies. Jotform is committed to keeping your data safe, and earning this credential confirms our commitment to implementing and maintaining effective information security controls. This session is going to be a brief overview of everything that you need to know about SOC 2, including what Jotform's new achievement means to Jotform enterprise customers who elect to use a SOC 2 compliant environment. So this is what we'll be talking about today. Again, short session today, we'll be covering everything that you see here. What is SOC 2 Type 2 compliance? Why is it important? And how did we achieve this credentialing? And of course, what does this mean for you? Our presenter today is Ben Shepard, Jotform's technical compliance lead. We recognize that this topic may be a little bit dry, but it's absolutely important. And we knew Ben would be one of the best people on our team in this for this session because of his expertise in this area. Before I pass the mic over to Ben, I wanted to mention that we do have some time at the end of today's session where we're going to discuss some of the questions that we received from registration for this session. So I will pop back in to facilitate that. But without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to Ben.
Thanks so much, Morgan. I'm really glad to be able to chat about this subject today. So what is SOC 2 then? Well, the acronym stands for Service Organization Controls, and it was developed by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And if you're any kind of person like me who maybe zones out at the first mention of accountants, I'll try to liven this up as much as I can. Focus on what it means to you as a Jotform customer. And this standard has become one of the most well-known and highly requested compliance frameworks in the last few years, as more and more companies such as yours are relying on software as a service organizations, such as Jotform, to provide integral parts of your software ecosystem. The SOC framework provides a standard way of measuring a company's compliance with a number of controls across 5 areas, as you can see in the bottom bullet here. This means that it's pretty comprehensive, and it's also a well-recognized framework that requires an independent audit. Because of that, customers can be confident that their software as a service provider implemented controls that measured up, as they were independently tested by a third party. The SOC 2 Type 2 examination specifically covers both our policies and procedures as designed, as well as examining evidence that we were following those procedures over a period of time to ensure effective controls are in place. So when a company utilizes a service organization to host their confidential information, data security is obviously a paramount objective. Our comprehensive approach to data security starts with encrypting the data to ensure that it can only be viewed by authorized parties. We monitor the system for potentially suspicious access to ensure rapid detection of threats. And data is only retained while needed, for example, while someone is an active customer, and for a short time thereafter. Our enterprise systems are locked down and strictly controlled. You as the customer manage your own users, and only a limited number of Jotform personnel can access the server to make necessary configuration changes, and only after getting a ticket approved by our CTO. And at no time can Jotform personnel access your data unless specifically authorized by you. Our admins all use 2-factor authentication to protect their accounts from credential theft, and you can enable multi-factor authentication for all your users. Prior to hire, all Jotform personnel must pass a background check. They then complete security training within 30 days of hire and annually after that. And finally, we also conduct independent third-party penetration tests on our networks and systems to discover and fix any vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. With SOC 2, you as a customer get the assurance that not only do we have the right processes in place, but we also independently verify them every year. So how did we get here? How did we achieve this important milestone? Well, firstly, I'd like to point out that before we achieved SOC 2, we already had solid processes in place. So it's fair to say that we had a great starting point. But with any process, we knew that there is always room for improvement. And the first thing we did was a gap assessment to determine where we already met SOC 2 expectations and where we needed to implement some tweaks. I'll give you an example. As a software as a service company, we feel strongly about deploying new features as well as code fixes to production as quickly as possible. There's a pretty big team contributing to the code base. The challenge was to find a way to ensure the right security testing and code reviews were put in place to catch any coding mistakes without slowing down our developers' ability to delight our customers with new features. Our team had some concrete ideas we wanted to implement and was able to build out some intelligent automation that helped us achieve our control objectives in an effective manner without putting in the old-fashioned roadblocks that we used to see in, say, waterfall software development. Ultimately, it was teamwork and cross-functional effort that got us across the finish line. We had to make sure engineering, operations, quality assurance, security, and our executive team were all on board with the changes we implemented. So at the end of the day, what does this mean for you? Well, as a Jotform enterprise customer, you can rest assured that and be confident in the service we offer, knowing that we've taken every opportunity to pressure test our systems, procedures, and staff so your data stays secure. Through this effort, we've built the best practices of the SOC 2 framework into our daily operations. Our newly achieved SOC 2 compliance provides an added layer of security and confidence on top of our already existing security and data protection offerings, which include dedicated servers, HIPAA-compliant forms, and single sign-on integrations, as well as database encryption. By signing up for SOC 2, you're also automatically getting a HIPAA-compliant solution, which provides certain security features to enable compliance with HIPAA. And for clarification, the SOC 2 offering is exclusively available to enterprise customers in the HIPAA-compliant enterprise environment. Our customers agree that our continuing investment in security are beneficial to them. And an enterprise customer in the healthcare sector recently told us this statement here. I would encourage anyone who's looking for the right approach to strongly consider the data security elements, the compliance elements, and especially the flexibility of Jotform Enterprise. Ultimately, what's important going forward is diligent follow-through. SOC 2 is not a diet that you do one time. It has to be a lifestyle change. We're going to be auditing for SOC 2 every year. And guess what? Each time we need to show evidence that we continue to follow the SOC 2 practices we implemented. Right now, our SOC 2 program is still pretty new, but a year from now, if we speak again, I'm confident that I'll be able to say that SOC 2 has become a cornerstone of our quality first program here at Jotform. Okay, so we had 3 questions specifically. So I'll just run through those in turn, Morgan.
Yeah, I will. Let me throw those out to you and we can talk a little bit about those. So again, these are questions that we took coming in from registration. So the first question that we had is, how do I get a copy of the SOC 2 report that's associated with this information we just shared?
Sure. Well, we're happy to share our SOC 2 Type 2 report with you as an existing enterprise customer or a qualified prospect. If you're already in contact with a business development manager, then please do let them know you'd like a copy.
Awesome, thank you. And I know you talked a little bit about who this applies to already, but I just want to make sure that we reiterate this. Somebody asked if this applies to Jotform Silver Plan, so could you talk about that a little bit?
Sure can, yeah. So SOC 2 will only apply to our HIPAA-compliant Jotform Enterprise environment. So by signing up for SOC 2, you're also automatically getting a HIPAA compliant solution, which provides certain security features to enable compliance with HIPAA.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. And the last question is, why did Jotform choose to implement SOC 2 versus other frameworks? And one example of another framework might be the ISO 27001. So can you share a little bit about that before we close out?
Absolutely. Well, SOC 2 is not the only way to demonstrate that we have a robust security program. As you mentioned, ISO 27001 is a well-respected framework. It's chartered by the International Standards Organization. However, two factors really influenced our decision-making here. So firstly, after looking at the ISO framework, we felt that it would be more appropriate for a company that didn't already have a security program in place and was starting from scratch. As I mentioned earlier, we already had an existing strong program. We just needed to make some tweaks rather than to reinvent it. The second and more important reason we focused on SOC 2 is because you all asked us to as customers. It was the most requested security report from our current and prospective enterprise customers, North American and European alike. And in the short time that we have had our final report on compliance, we've already shared it with 37 customers or qualified prospects, and that number grows each week. So if reviewing this report is key to your decision-making about Jotform, please do reach out to us, reach out to your business development manager to obtain a copy.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ben. Thank you for the information and for addressing these questions that came in. And also thank you to anybody who's watching this. So as Ben mentioned, if you have questions and you're already an enterprise user, check in with your business development manager. Or if you are interested in becoming a Jotform enterprise user, you can visit jotform.com/enterprise. And also, if you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm Morgan at jotform.com. And thanks again. Thanks for watching. All right. Bye.